Hello everyone, welcome to GametechUK, and this video which is a first impressions look at the Steam Deck. So let's get on with today's video. For transparency, I purchased this myself out of my own money. I wasn't sent this product for review. I brought it purely on the basis that my community would be very interested, especially that most of my community is console but with an eye on PC gaming. So I thought I'd buy this specifically for this review. As always, we're going to have a look around the box, have a look at the contents, get the Steam Deck out, install some games, show you some games working. It's very hard to film this unit. The screen is very glossy and therefore it makes it really hard to put together a nice looking video of this actual machine in action. There are some really classy in-depth teardown videos on YouTube under studio conditions, so if you're looking for that sort of video you might want to check those out. In this video I'm going to be giving my opinions on what it's like to hold, what it's like to play, and also I'm going to tailor it for my sort of audience, the stuff that we like to play: American Truck, Euro Truck, Bus Simulator, more indie stuff. So I think let's start by having a look at the contents and see what this machine actually looks like. Regarding the box, there really isn't anything to say about the packaging because it's completely plain. You do get an information sheet just letting you know where the main buttons are and how to charge the unit. The Steam Deck itself comes pre-packed in the carry case. I didn't even know this was coming with a carry case, and given the size of the unit, it's actually a most welcome addition. As we unzip the case, we get the first glimpse of the Steam Deck, and it is actually quite a wow moment. It's a lot bigger than I thought, and it looks fantastic. But first of all, let's have a very quick look at this case. It's very sturdy, and like I say, most welcome, especially given the price of this unit. But back to the Steam Deck itself, and it fits really nicely into the hands. The analog sticks, the haptic feedback, little mouse pads on the front. We've got lots of buttons on the back. There's buttons everywhere actually. It's very well equipped with regards to controls. The screen, as you can see, is extremely glossy. On the other side of the box we've got the power adapter, and there is a very brief instruction set in there, but pretty much that is the contents. Setup was a breeze. You're basically just choosing your time zone, naming the machine, and logging into your Steam account, or you can set a new one up. Pretty much standard fare for any new device, and then it will go on to install any latest software and drivers. Then there's a brief tour around the Steam Deck, such as the Steam button, the quick access button, where to charge it, where your volume buttons are, and also showing you where the SD slot is. I must apologise, it's really hard to film without getting that reflection of me doing the filming. So throughout this video, please excuse the way it's filmed. It's just really hard to actually get it filmed properly without any reflections. Using the Steam Deck is a very nice experience. It's basically just navigating your Steam library. For some reason in my mind I thought that it would be very obvious that you've got this extra operating system on top that would always remind you you're using the Steam Deck, but it's not like that at all. You are literally just browsing your Steam library and you've got your recent games, you can go to the store, you can install your games. It's very responsive. Now, because I was purchasing this purely for a video review, I did get the cheapest option, the 64GB option. I do sort of regret that now. It was only £349. I think that's a great price. I mean, it's a great bit of kit, and it also comes with that case as well. They could easily have charged £349 and just given a soft case of some sort, and then maybe wanted to go on to sell hard cases like this, but it does come included in that price. But obviously, and I did know this, but it was in the back of my mind, I just thought I'll try it out. Most of my Steam library is bigger than the 64GB. Actually, take away some of the operating system, you don't get the full 64GB, but most of my Steam library, like Lost Ark for example, Ultima Ballista 2, stuff I wanted to try, simply won't fit on this machine. You can of course upgrade the memory externally via the SD slot on all their models, which is a great feature to have, but obviously that's going to add cost. I wish I'd gone for the next one up, which was $459, 256GB of SSD memory. Obviously this isn't SSD, so the next one up is actually going to perform better. It's going to load a lot faster. And then you've got the higher tier one, which is $569. That's 512 gigabyte of SSD memory, but it also comes with a anti-glare glass covering over the screen as well. So if you're sitting like we are here with lights above us, it's very, very reflective, this base model, but obviously the etched glass will solve that somewhat. But I think even at 349, it's a great bit of kit to have. Also, let's not forget that not all Steam games will work with this device. In fact, funnily enough, if you go into your library, there is a heading called Great on Deck, they call it. And what that does is that filters all the games from your library that are 100% verified for the Steam Deck. Other games will load and you will get a warning sign just to say, look, this hasn't been fully tested, it might crash. Or more popular will be a message saying that this game works well, but the writing on the screen is just too small to read. And like I said at the start of the video, this is less of a technical review and more of a hands-on review, but the screen is 1280 by 800, which means it's 800p. Now that sounds quite low, I mean that's below 1080p standard gaming, but actually with the size of the screen you never have to worry about that. The graphics look really, really nice, even on a lower or a medium setting. It will go in with the recommended settings, but you can go in and change things. Obviously the more you change, the more graphical features, the more harder the machine is going to have to work, and therefore the battery is going to go down quicker. Because I couldn't install those AAAs purely through a limit on size, I wasn't able to test the battery on really high-end games, but I was getting a good couple of hours out of American Truck, Euro Truck, and that for me as a mobile device is absolutely fine. So let's go through and do my best to show you what the games run like. As I say, and as I said earlier, I do apologise for the way it's filmed. It's not a professional filming studio in here, so there's a lot of lights in here. You get a lot of reflections, but at least this gives you an idea of how it plays. First up is Gas Station Simulator, and the first thing that you will spot, even though it's on a what we would call today a very low resolution, 1280 by 800 is well below standard, but as you can see here, matched up with this IPS screen, it's not a problem, and the size of the screen, everything looks crisp. Sometimes it's hard to read, sometimes the text is quite small, but I think that's going to go part and parcel with a device like this. But you have got touchscreen as well, so you're also sort of enhancing your gameplay somewhat by using a touchscreen that you wouldn't ordinarily have within the game. I did find some of the controls quite tricky. If you think about it, on your left analog thumb, you're taking care of W, A, S and D that you would normally use 2 or 3 fingers on the keyboard. On the right analog stick, you're taking over the whole movement of the mouse. So you're doing quite a bit with 2 thumbs, and it can feel a little bit oversensitive, but on the whole, it works really well. And I ended up playing this game for about 40 minutes, just sitting there chilling out, playing it on the Steam Deck, and it works really well. There isn't any graphical options in this one, but it does seem to work at 60 frames certainly, and graphically it all looks lovely. And again, using the touchscreen as well as the hands-on controls means that the game is just lovely to play on the move. It really is. Next up, Bus Simulator 21, and another title that just sort of seemed to work seamlessly with it. And one important thing to note is that the game actually uses its standard profile for all the buttons, so you don't have to go in and start reassigning and deciding what button does what. The game will give you the standard profile. That's enough to be going on with. You can of course fine-tune things, but out of the box you can control absolutely everything quite easily. It takes a few seconds to realise what each of the buttons does, but again, graphically, look at the rain, the frame rate, everything seems to be absolutely perfectly. It's very, very impressive to think that although I'm sitting at my desk, I could be on a train, I could be at work, and playing these PC titles. It is a really fantastic bit of kit, and one that's most welcome, I think, in today's gaming market. Then we moved to Circuit Superstars, and this was fantastic fun. And this was one title where it didn't really matter whether it was a PC game, a PlayStation game, an Xbox game, and that's the important thing. It doesn't really matter that these are PC games. What should really shine through is that you're gaming on the go, and that's what I felt with this. Regardless of what platform this was, in my hands with the button scheme, the graphics, the sound, this was an immense amount of fun. Then a big one to test for me, which is American Truck Sim. This is a huge game that is synonymous with home computing, sitting at your PC, in a rig, or even with a controller, but at home playing this. not something you do on the go. So how would a game like this, that's predominantly played at home, how would you play this on a train? How would you play it at your office at work? And the answer is really well. The text is even quite readable in this. The graphics are lovely, even though again it's 1280 by 800. That is never a problem here. You can see graphically, I mean obviously I'm recording on my phone, but you know, graphically it's not even a problem. Graphically it looks lovely. The game plays really well. The control scheme plays really well, although some of the buttons on the back do tasks such as putting the handbrake on, and you know, I felt if I held it too tightly I would accidentally press that. But on the whole, this is the one of the ones that I'm most interested and most impressed with as well. It's just really great. And of course you can go in and you can turn some of the graphical settings up. This is completely standard, so I didn't go in to check, but you know, you can put the graphical settings up. But like I said earlier, the higher the graphics, the more the battery will go down. And the battery lasted for a couple of hours playing this. So a journey on a train, sitting in your staff room or in your car or having a break somewhere, or even on holiday for a couple of hours, you can go trucking on the move, and it's a very, very unique experience. Later on in the year they are going to be selling a dock, which means you can dock this unit and plug in a keyboard and mouse if you wanted to. You could even do TV out. You can do that at the moment by putting in a USB-C to HDMI cable. I haven't got one, unfortunately. I would like to try that, but I doubt it will look very good. If you're putting a 1280 by 800 input into a 1080p or a 4K screen, it's not going to look very good. One of the reasons this looks so good at 1280 by 800 is because it's such a small screen. It seems to be quite a versatile device. There's almost like a homebrew feel to it. You can come out of your Steam library and actually load into Linux. That means you could probably put RetroPie on here and install thousands upon thousands of retro games ready to play on the go. You can even format it if you wanted to. Put Windows 11 on, put the Steam library back on, but also have other stuff like Epic Games Launcher or Uplay. You could even use this to stream your PlayStation 2 or your Xbox games. You know, it's a very versatile machine. So who's going to buy this device? Well, you and me, we love tech. We're first early adopters. We're going to buy it. And are we going to use it? Maybe not so much, especially if you don't leave the house that much like most of us gamers. But if you are a working man or a lady that goes to work for long hours, but you get a decent sized lunch break, you go up to the staff canteen or the office, or go and sit in your car, or go down the park, or you want to go away for the weekend, it's perfect for playing in bed. I played it for hours in bed last night. You know, that's where you're really going to get the most out of this machine. If you stay in like me and you've got plenty of gaming hardware, as much as it's great to get your hands on a device like this, it's exciting, I like it, but there's also a gimmicky feel for it for me. But then I'm not that person going to work and spending an hour or 2 hours in the staff room where I could really get to grips with Cyberpunk, or there's so many things you can play with this. All PC titles, all stuff that you would predominantly play when you get home. Well, now you can grind away at your favourite game. If you're a passenger in a car, how great it is to be able to load up and level up and do all the stuff that we love to do. And I think the person that leaves the house most, does a bit of travelling, has a bit of free time during the day, is really going to benefit most from this. A early adopter like maybe me and maybe you, yeah, you're going to like it, you're going to be impressed with it, but I don't think unless you leave the house that much, this is going to be much use to you. What about a console player at home that wants to step into the world of PC gaming, doesn't really know where to start? This is all packaged up in a very nice, affordable bundle. How does this work as your main PC, if you like? Well, as you saw from my footage, American Truck works flawlessly, in fact, and the resolution is not a problem. I think the screen size for, if this is going to be your permanent PC, the screen size will be an inhibitor for you to really enjoy something like American Truck on the small screen all the time. I think it's limiting your enjoyment of that particular game. It's great if you already play that game on the big screen or on your rig, and you can really feel the benefit of taking that on the move. But if that's what you've got all the time, I think something like American Truck or bigger simulator games like that, you're probably missing out by having such a small screen. But if you're a user that knows that you're going to be using something like this a lot, you are probably going to want the more expensive option, the 569 version with the anti-glare glass screen, the 512GB of SSD. That's 569. You can get a gaming laptop for that, and part of me thinks, yeah, as lovely as this is and it has got the controls built in, I personally would rather go for a proper gaming laptop, a much bigger screen, better resolution, more adaptability. I mean, it is a real PC, so you can do so many things other than just play your Steam library. This is great, and I'm very, very impressed with it, but I also feel that it's version 1. I think the next Steam Deck 2.0, even though this isn't out for a lot of people and it's really hard to get hold of, really hard if you didn't pre-order it, I still think that early adopters always pay the price for experimenting on you and working out what needs to come next for the company. I think ultimately Steam Deck 2.0 will probably have maybe a slightly bigger screen, 1080p screen. It will have better cooling, better battery. Little things like the micro SD hasn't got a cover on it, you know, silly things that they've missed out. Some of the controls might be better. It's quite noisy, it runs quite hot, so the fan's usually constantly going. And some of those ideas where you can put Windows 11 on, or you can do Linux gaming on here, or watch Netflix or your PlayStation, I think Steam Deck 2.0, once they know what we use an item like this for, they will tailor it and it will do so much more. That's not to say don't purchase this item. I just think that Steam Deck 2.0 is actually what we're looking for. But these are just my opinions. I would love to know in the comments section if you agree. Did you like what you saw? Do you think it's a good purchase? Are you going to purchase one? Have you got one on pre-order? I would love to know and start a conversation with you in the comments section below. I hope this video has helped. If you are thinking of purchasing one, I hope this has helped you one way or the other. But like I say, I think ultimately, for me anyway, a gaming laptop is the way to go. That is it, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.